Acting Deletion. I wanted to do a quick update video that's not going to be very long, but I just wanted to talk about a few things I see going on here. As you guys already know, I totally believe the rapture is this year. So according to those events, I'm looking for the start of the tribulation and be getting ready to kick off, and the starting events for it to start playing out at breakneck speed. One of the things I wanted to talk about was what's going on in Afghanistan, right, with the Taliban taking over and America fleeing out of there. This is all planned perfectly, by the way, by the administrations around the world so they can get their power into play. But something else I see taking place is by the Taliban takes over Afghanistan, they're building more of a front for an attack on Israel. Not only does China and Russia have hands in this, but as well as the rest of the Muslims in that area, from Pakistan to Turkey and everything else in between, including Iran. And it really looks like they're getting this in place. I just listened to a video, and they were talking about some of the Taliban leaders that are involved in this being released by Obama back in the day, and how it's all part of that. And it really reminds me of the kid's vision, seeing Gog, who it was in charge of it, was Obama. And of course, what I've said for a long time, he's the only one that fulfills all the prophecies of being the Antichrist, like literally checking them off, check by check. And that's what exactly this looks like taking place. But one of the other things I wanted to point out is that why this is happening, why they're getting this front here. Other things have been taking place, including what we just saw on DHS potential terror threats the other day. If you haven't seen it, they put up a list. It's opposition to COVID measures. Anybody who's against that, you could be a terrorist. Claims of election fraud. I believe Trump can be reinstated. You can be considered a terrorist for that. 9/11 anniversary and religious holidays. You could be considered terrorist for that. And they put it up from a couple days ago to the 11th of November, a time frame that they need to be watching for. And this whole thing just looks like a preset here, almost the way the Patriot Act was created before 9/11 happened, and then they were able to just start tossing people in without trial or anything like that, and no court trial, no jury, or any of that stuff. And that's kind of what this reminds me of here, because once you're considered a terrorist, there's no question, they just pull you in for whatever reasons. But why and how this ties in that I would be most cautious about is why Taliban is taking over there, all right? And they're saying the 9/11 anniversary needs to be carefully, because of Americans that might try to do some jihad or have affiliation with the Taliban or something like that. And that would be their excuse to be doing it over here, which of course isn't going to happen. It's all going to be pre-planned CIA and government doing their own organized attacks and bringing ISIS members and stuff like that already inside our country, which they already know they're here and they've been allowed to be here the whole time. But recently with the digging and training that was going on in New York that had to do with a terrorist attack, whenever they do stuff like that, it's always like the preconditioning for what they already have planned and why they were digging there and stuff. Do not be surprised if a tactical nuke was laid in the streets of New York already, all right? And now with this new DHS report, Department of Homeland Security, that they have put up and warning and stuff like that within this time window, and Taliban over there, they could easily set one off and then blame that on extremists in America, saying that we had ties of radical Islam over here, which would come after who are their targets: white conservatives, Christians, and people that are against the jab, all right? Because they know that it's a death jab, all right? And for that reason, it really can set the front for going after those people, and they will swing it that it was done by radicals, like Americans got their hands on a nuke somehow or something. Give me a break. And there's been plenty of them that have gone missing over the years that are on standby as well, all right? But that could instantly be tied in with that, and then it would be under this whole Taliban thing as an excuse for creating the extremists over here, which is all part of the plan to go after people that already had intention, because we know that it's going to happen. They're coming after Americans anyways. That's one of the big plans. They have to bring America down for this event to unfold. I find it interesting that the timing of this is on November 11th, the ending of it. I've been saying it for a little while, but I don't know if I've talked about it on a video yet. because this is the year, all right? And when we tie in Daniel's timeline of 2,520 days, and what I was told in 2018 on Feast of Trumpets, that the Feast of Trumpets isn't for the rapture, it's for the second coming, all right? Then I put a window out myself of the peace deal that starts with the Antichrist, that starts the tribulation between around the 29th of October to the 11th of November, okay, to fulfill this window. And the reason why it's a spread is because I was not told that the days of Daniel end directly on Feast of Trumpets. I was just told that it's fulfilled at the second coming. So it could line up where we come back 10 days prior to the days being fulfilled, and it gets fulfilled on Feast of Atonement or something like that, all right? So I built just a little window of time there on when this peace deal could take place. I find that it's very interesting that their threat warning ends on the same day that I have it ending on for my peace deal being signed. So that's kind of interesting. It caught my attention when I saw that. But don't be surprised if if you want to stay left behind or anything like that. But I wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if they were to make that happen on Halloween. All right, they're masters of betrayal. There's nothing sicker than betrayal, or taking the trust of somebody and then using it to do something terrible. And for them to come out with a worldwide peace deal like on Halloween or something like that, which is also within this window, and then betraying everybody and then going out to just slaughter mankind, as they laugh about it, worshiping Satan. Don't put it past them. They're the absolute filth of this world. I see that Kamala Harris is turning on Biden for this whole Afghan thing, which is all being pre-planned and set up anyways. He's just taking his orders on what to do, and he was already supposed to be out of there anyways. I thought it was going to happen back in March or April. I can't believe it's lasted this long. But they're going to call like the 25th Amendment or whatever, or use an excuse over there, and he's just a fall guy anyway. Same with Kamala Harris, if she doesn't realize it yet. They'll have the destruction of America happen under her, and then they'll probably execute her and allow it to happen in the process. They do bring people in the Illuminati and stuff like that just to be pure sacrifice, and they think that they're in with them, but they're not. All right, so it's never a good idea to team up with the bad guys, no matter what they promise you. But that I keep in mind too, because of the prophecy from way back in the early 1900s with a woman president when the fall of America happened. So it's very interesting that that looks like it's getting ready to happen or possibly brew, and I'm surprised that it hasn't happened yet, honestly. But they're really staging this thing for a domestic terrorist attack that'll be pre-planned, just like 9/11. I find it interesting that Biden has already taken off again to go on another vacation after he came in and gave the Afghanistan report. Don't be surprised if he's out of the area the same way Bush was down in Florida talking to those school kids when 9/11 happened. Don't be surprised at all. But, don't trust anything. And remember what I've taught you guys before. It's a double front war. It always is. There is a restrainer, God, at work, who keeps his hand on things. And evil knows if it can get in there, if it can destroy that defense on the spiritual level, it's open for a physical attack. And America's primed for it. We're already right there. I sense the restrainer's hand's been lifting already. Stuff is starting to be allowed to take place where it's been shut down before, where it hasn't been allowed to happen before, where their plans fall through, where they want to chip everybody with the RFID chip inside Obamacare in 2013. All their computers crash. All the time, something's holding it back, stopping it. Hasn't allowed it. Every single time they've pulled back. Obama wanted to bring aliens out, and the news all around the world giving them 28 minutes of time, and then they pull it last minute because they're not ready. Just everything. It's not doing that anymore. It's actually going through, and with this old jab, it's been allowed to so far, and we know that what that is. It's freaking death. It's death in a syringe, okay? And those that take it, unfortunately, all croak when their time's up with this, but it's only going to exponentially increase more and more the more that they take it. But that's the end game. We're in the end game right now. They're doing it, and because this year, what I was told that the rapture does happen and stuff, I'm just looking at this and how fast it could break down. And honestly, it hasn't happened fast enough. I wanted this to go down and us to be out of here hopefully in spring, and we're getting into the late hours of summer right now. We might even get into partial fall. I don't know. I just know that I've been praying for the Lord to return back as fast as possible, because we're in a dire situation right now in the world. And the underground church in Afghanistan, keep them in your prayer, because like I say, all this stuff is planned. They're funding Taliban America is the same way they did with ISIS. They left the weapons and the gear there and stuff like that. When Obama came out back in 2013 and they purposely set it up with his horns coming out of his head as he just sat there in this pure evil state, talking about how we weren't going to go after ISIS strictly, but we go after little parts here and there, and all the people in those countries and stuff talked about how airdrops and supplies and food and ammo and money and stuff would get dropped in. Oops, on accident to the ISIS fighters instead of the actual refugees there and stuff, as Christians got slaughtered and crucified and raped and murdered left and right, and Obama jumped for joy and giddy because he's absolutely the most vile piece of crap there is. And now they're doing it again with Biden, his second-hand man, which is actually just Obama's third term, and they're allowing it to happen. And it's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting to see, but I also know that it's happening for a reason, because we're about to get out of here and the tribulation's about to start. But keep that church in prayer and under God's protection, and hopefully hidden to the point where God can get them out of there when He comes back and gets us. And there's just been enough persecution of the churches and stuff like that. And the underground church, in these other countries, it gets it so bad they have to live constantly like that, And they're the real deal. Over in America, we've had it easy, we really have. And it's also why there's so many Americans that are blind and in false, crappy teachings that they wouldn't hold the line for if their life depended on it anyways. Because there's no persecution, there's no character building, there's no pruning or anything like that. But yeah, just kind of wanted to talk about this and give a little update on what I see here that could totally take place. Don't be surprised if there's a false flag attack that's huge and blamed on it Americans because of some sort of connection with the Taliban thing. That's all part of the plan, which will only be an excuse to come after, like I say, conservatives, Christians, people that are avoiding the old jab and everything else, and knows that the whole thing's jacked up. All right. So anyway, just a little update on what I see kind of going on here and taking place, and witness while you can and pray for everybody that you can, because we are seriously right on the verge of this thing going down, and there's not much time left. There just isn't. And we're really seconds away from the rapture happening. So pray for everybody that you know and continue to witness and stuff like that. But stay vigilant, because this thing's moving faster and faster, and it could really take off here, especially what's happening over there. It's setting the stage for it, and I don't think it's a coincidence they were digging around and messing with a biological weapon or a type of terrorist attack in New York. They always do that kind of stuff right before they're about to do something. You guys know the stories from Sandy Hook to everything else. They're right up the road. They're planning the same thing right up the road, a school shooting and everything else. All right, they're not to be trusted, but they're really setting this up for something. And the Biden administration, like I say, I'm surprised that Kamala hasn't stepped in yet and they put her in her place, but I see that probably happening here real soon. So stay vigilant, pay attention to everything going on, and it's just a quick update that I wanted to give. All right, God bless. I'll catch you next time on the Alicia, and I'll see you in the air. Bye.